Welcome to Jackal's Wrestling Entertainment Pod. We have a huge week to talk about finishing up SummerSlam. As always, Caleb.
Jeremiah.
We'll jump right into it. SummerSlam kicked off with Women's World Championship match where you had Naomi retaining her Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky in a really good match.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really set the pace. We got night two off to a great start. Great action, really. Just like we said, just laid the groundwork for the night to come. Awesome match. Great back and forth. And yes, Naomi still managed to keep that championship. And everyone knew she was coming this time.
Yep. And it was, like you said, there was no surprise on this, but she did take advantage of Rhea Ripley to get the victory.
Yes, she did.
Up next, we had our 6-team TLC match for the SmackDown Tag Championships. This match had everything in him. Wyatt 6 walked out still champs.
That was just awesome. Most definitely kept the tradition of the TLC alive. This was like in the best way, a car wreck just in front of you on TV. Carnage everywhere. And yes, Wyatt's, with help of the other 3 members, did walk out still take team champions.
There's a spot where Eric Rowan got mauled by chairs by the Street Profits. Even though they didn't walk out winners, but they had feel good for the Profits. Rowan was a reason why they are no longer tag champions.
Exactly. Candice tried to help. B-Fab tried to help. But in the end, Wyatt just took full advantage.
Up next, we had a grudge match. And this really was, when you think of great grudge matches for this year, Becky and Lyra Valkyria has to be up top on just ending that rivalry for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was most definitely a grudge match. We saw a very twisted side of Becky. Lyra too, but I still think Becky leaned a little bit more twisted. Bayley, I don't know. Did Bayley accidentally hit Lyra, or did Bayley intentionally hit Lyra because Bayley's not getting any opportunities herself?
Yeah, that's a good point. It does make you wonder. Up next, we had Solo Sikoa retain his United States Championship with the help from his MFTs against Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, Jimmy even trying to was not enough. As like I said, the MFT, awesome cage match, but in the end, with that door slammed on Jacob, that was just too much, and Solo was able to leave out with his United States Championship. But it did not end. The night did not end well for Tongalo and JC Mateo.
It did not. Jacob kind of got the quick receipt on those 2 men. Up next, we had AJ Styles. Before we get to the match, what did you think of AJ Styles' Latino Heat tribute?
Oh, that was awesome. I mean, the lowrider, the gear, Eddie's one of the best to ever do it. Especially, 20 years since Dominic Mysterio was a kid involved in that storyline. So really a way to mess with Dom, get in his head. Well, they both would try tactics of Eddie, but in the end, Dominic did it a little bit better and kept his Intercontinental Championship. Another fun match on a just, I think, awesome night too.
Yes, I agree completely. Up next, we had and I'll be honest, we've talked about this off air. I believe this to be an early match of the year candidate. I think you feel the same way. We had the real John Cena against Cody Rhodes. Everyone got what they wanted to see. You got Super Cena, Super Cody.
Yeah, no, this was a great match, awesome match. Like you said, real John Cena, no shortcuts, no low blows, no interferences, no ref bumps, no any of that. Just straight up, like you said, Super Cena against Super Cody. Awesome match, great spots, finishers, fought throughout the arena, came up on the elevator on the stage. Just awesome match. And like a lot of people said, and you have to agree with it, WrestleMania was exactly what we were hoping for, was exactly the match that we wanted between these two. But this match delivered, most definitely. John Cena Cody's like, yeah, we're going to make up for WrestleMania, and they did. They gave like one of the best matches in recent memory, and like you said, most definitely match of the year candidate.
After the match, John Cena said, "I gave my best. You just beat the Will John Cena. Congratulations." That's great. That's big words from John Cena, and we know that he's nearing the end, and it looks like he is passing that torch to Cody Rhodes. But the night was not finished there. After this match, you would hear the music, and out would come Brock Lesnar, who would dismantle John Cena and then leave. But I just have to ask, what do you make of Brock Lesnar's return to the WWE?
I was a huge surprise. I mean, last week we talked about the Rollins cash-in, but I don't think, to my knowledge, this was on anyone's radar. I think this one just completely shocked everyone. Controversies aside, it looks like he's cleared up from all that. And just as a fan, it's great to see the Beast back in the WWE. You never know what you're going to get at all with Brock Lesnar. But like I said, as a fan, you just think about all these matchups, everything that's happened, to run some by you real quick since Brock Lesnar's been gone. What about a Brock Lesnar Braun Breaker match? A Brock Lesnar Gunther match? I mean, just think about these possibilities that we could see now that the Beast is back in the fold.
That's true. Also, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's most definitely one that wasn't there. So, I'm pretty sure we're not alone, but just as wrestling fans, you have to be excited thinking about the possibilities. The Beast is back, and I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think so either. And then here, I'll ask you this last thing about SummerSlam. John Cena was walking out of the arena. They were playing his music. He looked at the camera. He said, "Stop the music." He said, "One last time." And he just let the crowd kind of serenade him out of the ring with the thank you Cenas and the cheering and the clapping. What do you think of that moment? How big of a moment was that for John Cena?
Oh, it was a big moment. Just as a fan, it's sad too, a little bit too. It is the last time. I don't know exactly if there's any stadium shows left on John Cena's last few dates, so that could have been it too. The last time he wanted to hear a stadium just with fans, no music, and I saw John Cena's kind of getting emotional himself, and just as a fan, it is just a sad moment, and I'm sure we're all gonna have our own way of thinking, man, once it's over, man, it's over. For 20-some years, we grew up watching John Cena. There's a whole generation of fans and kids who have grown up watching John Cena, and it is going to be sad to see him go, but man, what career. And yeah, he just wanted to soak that energy in one more time, because I don't know if there are any, but still, you talk about the biggest show's WrestleMania, the second biggest show, SummerSlam, so he probably wanted, soak that in one last time.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. Up on Monday Night Raw, we kick things off with the new world champion Seth Rollins. He would be interrupted by LA Knight, leading to Adam Pearce making a world title match for the Raw main event.
Yeah, which I really like, because we were talking about this ourselves last week, and then saying, well, Seth Rollins did come in, cash in for injury, and go fake injury, but regardless of any of that, LA Knight pinned him in that match, 1, 2, 3 after BFT. So LA Knight, rightfully so, jumped to the front of the line. And, we'll talk about that match once we get to it. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. Rollins out there celebrating. And it's like, yeah, no, don't forget about LA Knight.
Yeah. Up next, we had a big, brutal, monster match between Rusev and Sheamus. This one ended in double countout, so we're still looking for that rubber match. Each man has a victory. We did get a victor in this match, but we're still looking to see who's going to take home this rival.
Exactly. Still, like we were talking to happen at SummerSlam, but I still believe wholeheartedly that we need a step. Like you said, Last Man Standing would be a great blow-off step for this, but give them at Clash in Paris. These two great performers. I think they deserve that pay-per-view spotlight.
Yeah.
And this rivalry's been building to it, so I'd like Last Man Standing in Falls County or somewhere along there. Let these two beasts go with no rules, no restraints on the pay-per-view. I think we're not the only ones alone in wanting this match to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. Up next, Penta scored a victory over Grayson Waller. What'd you make of this one?
This was just fun because when New Day came out and they were out there and I guess the close of grieving of mourning the take title wing. They Penta made short work of Grayson Waller, but was really the moment was New Day come to the ring and sorry people over. I'm not too familiar with anime to exactly get the reference, but I guess when he grabbed Woods' hat from Woods, did his strut with it, and then flung it like a anime move back at the New Day, and then the creator said, "I wish I could have seen it live, but I liked the video and happy that he shouted us out." And then after that he would jump out on the New Day. Penta stood tall after getting the best of 3 men.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. Up next, we had the Judgment Day. Raquel and Roxanne demand their tag championship rematch. They got it, but they fell short again to Charlotte and Bliss. How long can Bliss and Charlotte hold on to these belts?
I don't know. But no, that was a good match. We talked about it Saturday night. The rematch, I believe, was almost just as good. So it was a really good match as well. The Judgment Day tried, but no, it was to no avail. I think we're going to see a lengthy title one myself. And, we'll talk about Friday night, some more moments and stuff with the champs. But, no, so far I think this is just, a lot of fans are really happy and behind it. Bliss came back at Wumbo, and she wasn't really doing a whole lot. Charlotte had won the Wumbo. WrestleMania lost stretch, and you did see her. So I think this is two awesome future Hall of Famers put them together, and they just made magic so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. Up next, we had Dirty Dominic Mysterio defeating Dragon Lee. In this match, we saw multiple El Grandes. What's going on with 3 different El Grande Americanos, and what you make of Dominic picking up this victory?
Yeah, Dom's just been on the wall. Momentum's all in his corner right now. Beat AJ Styles Sunday night, picked up a victory over Dragon Lee as he's preparing for, I believe, this upcoming Saturday Worlds Collide, possibly be a double champion. But no, I'm not really sure what's going on for El Grande Americanos. We know one out there that we've seen wrestling, that's been doing stuff, but then we have 2 other ones in jumpsuits that just keep
showing up.
Yeah, so it's be very interesting to see where all this is going. But like we were kind of talking ourselves, I hope the El Grande Americano gimmick's been pretty cool. So like you were saying earlier, I hope this doesn't cheapen it, eventually ruin it by just having other
Too
people.
many, yeah, like washing it down.
So I'd rather just see maybe the other 2 get caught and then just go back to the one El Grande that we have.
Yeah.
But, just have see where this goes. But yeah, just don't ruin it by just doing it.
Too many
El
Grandes, yeah. AJ Styles would prevent Dominic from the aftermatch attack on Dragon Lee and end up throwing Dominic's own boot at him and hitting him in the face. I thought that was a cool moment. Up next, we had Nikki Bella stepping up to the Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. This promo was pretty cool and it was fun.
Yeah, it was. Nikki really left herself wide open against and Becky, and just my opinion, promo wise, wrestling wise, she's one of the best women to ever do it in the game. She can hold her. First off, in action, she can hold herself in ring against anyone. But on the mic, it's arguably she might be the best ever from a women's division standpoint. That's not a shot to anyone. But Becky is right up there with The Rock, John Cena, Stone Cold, CM Punk. Any of the great talkers in the history of this business, I put Becky Lynch up there.
Yeah, no.
Hanging with the guys, anyone on that matter. And Nikki left herself wide open by taking a shot at Seth Rollins. Becky would respond with, well, how's your engagement walk? We can't see your would-be husband. Something to that extent. hinting at the real life fallout between her and John Cena. And then there's a reason we never went one-on-one. She punched her in the face and took off. So, yeah, very entertaining, very fun. I can't wait to see where this goes. I am very excited for this rivalry myself.
Next, we had a lot going on. We had a world title main event where LA Knight would challenge Seth Rollins. But before the interferences, this match had broke down to the outside of ring. It was still going, but LA Knight was about ready to be corpse stomped on the no pad, just for concrete outside, because Seth had removed the pad before CM Punk would make the save, where he said, but at that same time, he would ruin LA Knight's championship match. So with that, him and LA Knight were not seeing eye to eye. Seth Rollins, Braun, and Bronson got the jump on them, took both of them out. Before Seth could leave, Roman came out, but then Seth and his guys got the jump on Roman Reigns too, and that's how we ended the show with Bronson Reed taking Roman's sneakers. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, most definitely. First off, like you said, great match. Very awesome back and forth main event for our world title, but it did not look like it was going to end well for LA Knight before CM Punk's interference. The odds right now are just too much. Roman, at the point Roman comes in, Roman's holding his own against Breakker and Reed. Seth takes off. But what happened was Roman turned his back on Seth.
Yeah.
As he's pounding on Bronson Reed, that corpse
stomp.
All downhill from there as Seth and his crew stood tall, closing off Raw. No knock on LA Knight, but I don't think Seth's going to lose the title this quick.
No, I don't think so yet either.
And then as we know, Raw went off air. Some back and forth, LA Knight and Punk. Punk saying, I saved your life. LA Knight like, no, you cost me my match. But you still wonder what's next in this story. Do we see possibly a triple threat fatal four-way? Do we see them put their odds aside, Roman, Punk, and LA Knight, and go after Seth and his crew to even up the numbers game? It's very interesting. So many points right now. And I'm just excited to see where all this goes, see what matchups we get.
I am too. It reminds me of like an old ruthless aggression era type rival where you have the Hill champion and a ton of people gunning for that one Hill champion. They're not necessarily friends. They're just all gunning for the same man.
Yeah, exactly. And, that was done so well with examples like Evolution, Triple H leading that, and his cronies would, go after the faces, like you said, I'll be going for more. Even on SmackDown, you had JBL and his cabinet would go after
Team Mango.
Yeah, that's true. Team Mango as well. So it was done so many great times, and we're seeing a really good modern version of that right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. NXT would kick off with Kalani Jordan defeating Blake Monroe by countout when Jordan Grace showed up and chased Blake out of the arena. But nonetheless, big victory for Kalani Jordan, even if he is only by countout, still handing Blake Monroe her forced loss.
Exactly, and we were talking about it last week, just how, underweighted Kalani really is. But this is a huge win, like you said, count out or not, that gets her back on track and should get her in some kind of title picture, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. Up next, you had Hank and Tank defend the tag championships against the new Chase U guys. It wasn't really much of a match. But after the match, Dark State would make their presence known by attacking Hank and Tank.
Yeah, but you have to say, though, that match kind of surprised me. They gave more of a fight than I thought they would. The Chase U guys, a little bit more back and forth. And I really liked the segment last week, too, leading up to it. It was kind of, just a good, funny thing. They were going to go in there and beat them with chairs.
Yeah.
That's what they had to do. They had to attack them, get the title match. And Chase is like, no. And they're like, no, we'll just give you a title. Oh, yeah, that was just fun. And Sean does a lot of these, really cool, funny, storylines. And no, Dark State, they got Chase U, too, right? They got everyone.
Yeah.
And Hank and Tank are not down for it. As you know, they talked to Ava, and two of Dark State will get a take title match at Heatwave. So that's very dangerous right there if they get gold.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know, just to get NXT again, just as a fan, there's so many different storylines going on and awesome things to get behind.
Up next, we had Miles Bourne against Lexis King. That was a pretty good back and forth match.
Yes, it was. Miles Bourne is building up momentum. I mean, he starts that Battle Royal match with Oba, and this is what like a lot of people complain about, or maybe just don't understand. But you look, and it's what we've talked about on the show. Sometimes you give that big match and you lose against the champion. There's nothing wrong with that. You get to showing that you've taken the champion far. You lose, but you win it overall in that loss, because look at him now. He started this rivalry with Lexis. That may be in his rearview mirror now after he just beat Lexis, and we don't know what's next. But I think Miles Bourne's really been a rising star in NXT since that world title match.
Yeah. Up next, we had Obafemi, Trick, and Javon Evans talking, going back and forth, looking like it may lead to a... We've seen this triple threat before, looking like we may possibly see it again. But then Moose would come out. And after Moose would come out, we would see Dark State, who teased Red Night wasn't over yet, come out and try to get the jump on these four men. This one didn't go so well for Dark State.
No, it did not. And I know that they lost on a TNA pay-per-view a month or so ago. Dark State did. But on NXT, I've never seen them dominated like they were this past Tuesday. Like you said, they tried to get the jump. Not with these four men. They got thrown out of the ring. They stood tall. Ava made the huge blockbuster 8-man tag next week. But again, like we talked about going into before WrestleMania, we talked about the possibility that 3 great singles against a unit. These are 4 guys. None of them's butties. None of these guys get along against a unit. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's going to be fun. NXT is really heating up on Heatwave.
Yes. Up next, we would see Nia Jax take down Thea Hell. After the match, Nia would talk about what she did to Lash Legend the week prior. This would lead to Lash Legend interrupting. We would see a little bit of a brawl between Nia and Lash, with Ava announcing a one-on-one match next week.
Yeah, again, just next week's show is so stacked already. But no, Thea Hell, for whatever reason, she had her vlog. She kept taking shots at Nia. She got Nia. It did not end well for Thea.
It did not.
But Lash is not going down, and Nia said, "You're not going to make your name at my expense." So this is like, just 2 powerhouse women going to fight one-on-one for the first time. That's going to be an awesome match. And again, like we talked about NXT, you never know what's going to happen. You have TNA surprises. You have SmackDown surprise in Nia Jax.
Yeah. We would see a little bit of kind of a back and forth. We would see Inamura come out. Then we would see Josh Briggs jumping before he could even really get all the way out. And we'd see these 2 fight. When do you think that blow-off's going to be?
That's a great question. I'm thinking Heatwave myself. I think once we're friends, Briggs is really the one to blame for this implosion, because any shortcut he's willing to take. Inamura's a good, he's just a good stand-up individual. He wants to do everything the right way. He wants to do it with honor. He doesn't want any shortcuts. Briggs, not so much. And yeah, it came to a head, and I think it would surprise me if we did have some kind of stipulation almost, because just the breakups and the way things are going. But I most definitely think that's going to be a Heatwave match announced sooner rather than later myself.
Yeah, I do too. I agree. Up next, we would see Win St. Clair try to chill up Charlie Dempsey. He's really down. He does have his no quarter catch crew anymore. It's just him and St. Clair. And she would say, "I know it will cheer you up." And she said, "Say his name," and he appears. Joe Hendry was in the refrigerator. What was he doing? He was just chilling. But Joe Hendry came out of the refrigerator. It did not chill up Charles Dempsey, and now that match will happen next week as well.
Again, exactly. More fans. Charlie Dempsey is so, I think, underrated in NXT. I mean, we saw them one go out on their own, Tavion, Miles, but we know who his dad is. One of the best technical wrestlers in the history of the game, in William Regal. But Charlie Dempsey's just so much like his dad in that technical ground and pound type style. And I think him and Joe Hendry's going to be an awesome match myself. I think it's cool. He gets a shot against a huge, like a big time opponent like Joe Hendry to show by the way can do. He was not impressed. He didn't want the shortened pants either. And yeah, he gets his match. And again, another just fun segment. Like we see a lot of these really cool, funny segments on NXT, and really after as a fan, thanks Shawn Michaels for that kind of stuff because that's a part of it. World Wrestling Entertainment, the entertainment stuff's cool too.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of entertaining, up next we had a very entertaining segment. Ethan Page was interrupted by Tavion Heights as we were talking about Miles Bourne coming from Charles Dempsey. We were talking about Charles Dempsey a little bit ago. Talking about both of them, Tavion Heights came from that too. He is free as of last week, and this past week he made his impact by stepping up to Ethan Page, but we would also see Chelsea Green come out and stand up for Ethan Page. So what do you think's going on here? Is Chelsea Green going to be on NXT? Is she going to help out Ethan Page?
I don't know. That's a very interesting alliance, and so everything went down. Yeah, he had told Miles Bourne back that he's finding his way. He is. He's like you said, he's free. He's setting his sights on championship gold. Smart decision. And then Chelsea comes out as a surprise to everyone.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, you were. I know you're not going to hit the woman." And he's like, "I won't, but I'll find someone that will." So I wonder who is he going to go recruit to help him out against Chelsea and Verhoeven. And Ethan Page, he's a hell. He hid behind Chelsea, but to no avail because he still got popped and Tavion took off. But no, this is very interesting and worth talking. Chelsea made her presence felt on SmackDown as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, just you don't know what's going to happen on NXT. So many surprises. It's just, right now, it's must-see TV every Tuesday night on the CW. NXT is delivering.
Very true. We had our main event up next, which also delivered. We had Soruka and Tatum Paxley, and Soruka stays on top of that North American Championship division in NXT. She's held that title for a very long time.
Yeah, she has, and just Soruka, all of them is good, but she's become one of these champions, one of these competitors that she just goes out there and she helps elevate anyone she's against to a really good match. Izzy Dame was, more so as a manager, not so much you didn't see her wrestle till this rivalry with Soruka. She elevated her. We've seen Tatum Paxley, but this is one of the best Tatum Paxley matches too. She's just became, you put them out there with you're going to get a good match, and she's helping elevate everyone around her while keeping that championship. And also, before we move on, we have to talk about the little back and forth between Fatal Influence backstage throughout the night. A little bit, arguing. Jasmine had Ghost Shine the titles. When doing so, she put them in a tag match next week against Lola.
And Kalani.
Yeah, and Kalani. So she most definitely, it's like, are they a team? Do they hate each other? What's really going on with Fatal Influence here?
I still think it's going to lead to a triple threat, possibly for the NXT Women's Championship. And I think if done right and built the right way, I actually mentioned this to you earlier, I believe Jasmine next could be the underdog babyface that everyone's really behind and would love to see that moment of winning the NXT Women's Championship.
I agree with you 100%. Just like you said, you're close. That might be the direction we're going, as everyone was just speculating, throwing our own theories. And I really like Siva. I think that could be because she was the one neglected to do the dirty work, but she got her payback as in, okay, well, yeah, you two are wrestling next week and I'm not.
Yeah. It's very interesting to see where that goes. Before we jump to SmackDown, I want to ask you about this new PLE deal, and it's good to announce this so people watching this, which I don't know if they've heard it or not, will now get to know where 2026 WWE PLEs will be on. It will not be on Peacock, but it will be on ESPN. Now, what exactly does that mean? It means if you do not have a TV subscription that holds ESPN, you can buy it directly from ESPN for $30 a month. But some TV subscriptions that already have ESPN, depending on what ESPN package is offered, and if you have it, you don't have to pay a thing. So these pay-per-views will now not be streaming, so to speak, but they'll be on ESPN.
Yeah, that's huge. So, I mean, if you're already, you said if you already have that package, then you don't have to pay for it. If you don't, there was a little bit part that's not so great, because if you don't and you had Peacock for $10 a month, now you have to go up to $30 a month.
They've been raising their prices. They're up to 17 now themselves. So they're almost getting there.
It's not too big of a difference, but another thing to go to, if you are, a sports fan, you're a football fan, Red Zone's on that same package as WWE. So, that works out too, because you combine what you pay for Red Zone and Peacock. So a lot of people complain, which I understand. If fans are tough, and everyone has to put money where it best suits them. But if you are in that case of, hey, I'm paying for Peacock, I want to watch where I did review pay-per-views, I'm a football fan, I'm paying for Red Zone, it's not a bad deal in that scenario.
It's not. And just your opinion on it, what do you think ESPN WWE PLEs can do for WWE?
I think it's great. I mean, worldwide leader in sports, everyone knows Disney owns ESPN. Disney is the number one entertainment company in the entire world. I mean, the theme parks, ESPN, Marvel, Star Wars, all the movies they own. Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, so you figure that exposure on top of what the WWE already is. I think it helps everyone involved, myself.
I do too. And just look at this way. It went from Peacock paid like 160-some million for the whole contract of pay-per-views. ESPN is given $326 million a year for 5 years. So huge upgrade to the finance of WWE as well.
Exactly. And so with that said, and most definitely when we find out, we'll keep you guys, if you don't find out yourselves, in the know, because the content classic library is still up for grabs. A lot of people think it will go Netflix. NXT PLEs are still up for grabs, so not everything is on ESPN, unless ESPN ends up getting West too. But once we find out, we will put on here for those of you who don't know yet. We will try to keep everyone up to date where all these events fall.
So real quick before we jump SmackDown, good to note that WWE has been testing putting a lot of things on YouTube, including the Triple Manias that you were talking about. It's very possible that the library, the content, and all of that goes to YouTube. So whether or not that would be behind a premium YouTube paywall, or that would just be a free where you could watch it whenever, or this or that, I don't know. We'll also keep you updated on that, because there's rumor that they could possibly be YouTube bound.
That'd be huge for YouTube.
That would be. See, we're shouting out YouTube. But jumping into SmackDown, we started the show off with John Cena. John Cena told Brock Lesnar if he wants some, come get some. But before John could even really finish what he was saying, Logan Paul would interrupt. Logan Paul would go back and forth with John Cena. When Cena was saying something, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre jumped him, and Cody made the save, leading to a tag team match made later on in the night. But we also know John Cena will versus Logan Paul at Clash in Paris. So, a lot to unpack, but what do you think of this promo?
Now, first off, it was just John Cena. We saw last week on SmackDown what he said, and everyone, ourselves included, was like, did John Cena really mean this? It is real John Cena back, as we all found out Sunday night he was. A very emotional, first part of a segment with the fans, talking to everyone and saying, is he afraid? Yes, but he will not back down from Brock Lesnar. He never has. And moving forward, like you said, Logan Paul would interrupt. Back and forth. Logan Paul said he's not going to wrestle for Montreal. They don't deserve it. But, like you said, the match is made for Clash in Paris. But John Cena said, well, we'll have that. But tonight, it looks like there's two of you. There's two of us. We're going to have a tag team match. Logan Paul had no choice but to accept that one. And Blockbuster's main event for SmackDown. And, just great segment. And, John Cena... Now, after last night, 11 dates, 11 more times, you'll see John Cena in the WWE ring as an active competitor, and then he retires.
Yeah, it's going to be sad, like you mentioned at the start of this show that we're recording. It's going to be surreal when it happens, and you no longer see John Cena in WWE as an active competitor. It's going to be very different.
Most definitely.
Next, we saw the MFTs get a huge victory. They defeated the Motor City Machine Guns. Do you think the MFTs could pose a threat to the Wyatt Six?
I believe so. I mean, Machine Guns are most definitely a legendary tag team established. They were banged up, mind you, but still, dominant win. Right now, we just see this Tala Tonga, and he's just a beast. He got Jimmy. Last week, he gets this huge win with Mateo over the Guns, and I think we could see that. We could see possibly Tala and Mateo against Dexter and Joe.
Next, we had Sami Zayn would interrupt Nick Aldis would tell Solo since he's there, he just said he was ready to compete. He has a surprise for him. We would see Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa impromptu match, and Sami Zayn would pick up the victory.
Yeah, huge win in his home town of Montreal. And does that put Sami next on United States title?
Makes you wonder.
List. Solo ran his mouth. He ate his words by the end of the night. But like you said, Solo made that declaration that they could go for other titles, and you were talking about this last week. Just imagine a Wyatt Six versus MFT rivalry. I think would be very fun rivalry for everyone.
Yeah, very true, and it looks like there's a chance we may get that. We may get it, so it'd be interesting. Stay tuned and see where that goes. Next, we would have Charlotte giving somewhat of a birthday celebration to a new tag champ partner, Alexa Bliss, as it was Alexa's birthday yesterday. And she'd be interrupted by Chelsea Green.
Yeah, Chelsea making her presence felt this week. She went on NXT. She is a SmackDown superstar. She came out. She interrupted. She didn't want no celebration, no cake. We did see follow up to I believe an angle back in 21 where Alexa Bliss had gave Charlotte the doll, Charlie, and now she gave that doll back, and you have Lily and Charlie, which was fun. But yeah, Chelsea, Charlotte said, well, I have one more gift for you, and I'll shut Chelsea up for you.
And she did just that, picking up the victory, and Chelsea got her face smashed in a cake too as well. Very interesting, very fun section of Friday Night SmackDown.
Exactly. Like we said earlier, it's wrestling and entertainment, and you got both. You got a good match, but you had some fun parts in there as well.
Speaking of very entertaining, John Cena on his way to the ring for the main event would see Ron Killings, and he would explain to Ron Killings what happened, and he would say things got really weird, but I'm happy to have you back, as he explained everything that Ron Killings had done as of late. What did you think of this? I thought this was a really cool, really fun segment.
It was funny, because, I mean, our truth saying John Cena's just childhood hero, John Cena saying, You got really mean there. You did some stuff you should have not done. You made a kid cry and all this. And it's great to see you back. Truth looked a little puzzled as John Cena walked away, but it was fun. And be interesting to see what next. We know when we'll see John next. We'll be interested to see what's next for our Truth.
Also, before the main event, we got what I thought was an excellent promo from Aleister Black on Damian Priest, and he told him, he said, "I told you not to get involved in this, you did, and look what happened to you now." And then he was just going on, but I thought Aleister laid out a great promo right there.
Yeah, because it was, and then he's like, we've talked about back and forth, for instance, whole thing is Aleister William wrong, this or that, but Aleister said, "I don't believe in good and evil. I believe in perception. However you think, that's based on whose perception you look at, because am I evil, or am I just, after following up a warning I gave you to stay out of my business?"
Yeah, that's true.
So, no, I agree with you. Very great. Aleister's such a fun but complicated character. So he's dark but so complex. His promos are very intelligent promos.
Yeah.
And he'll still whoop you.
That's true. Next, we had our main event. We didn't really get to see a finish. Just broke down into a disqualification kind of count out. But John Cena and Cody against Logan and Drew. We would see Cena and Logan, which we know are opponents at Clash in Paris, fight to the back. This would leave Drew McIntyre to Claymore Cody through the announcer table, like the little screen area on there, and just leave Cody laying. Is this possibly leading to a Drew Cody match at Clash in Paris?
I believe so. I mean, everyone was wondering what's next, who's next for Cody. I think Drew answered that question himself.
I do too.
John Cena's not going after the belt again. It'll look like, at least in the near future, he will. Logan's going to be taking on Cena. Drew saw an opportunity, laid Cody out, sent a message, and even Barrett during the matches references, well, if you go back 15 years ago, they were a tag team. The Dashing Ones, Drew and Cody. Both men have most definitely changed in 15 years from that. And I can't really think of a really singles match of a one-on-one since then.
No, I can't either.
So, I mean, this could be your main event at Clash in Paris, possibly. I mean, I just think this is going to be a great match.
Yeah, I do too. Jump into our match of the week segment. This is very interesting because we have SummerSlam finishing up. I'll save the SummerSlam matches for last, but we'll go through Raw, and we will take the women's take title rematch, Bliss Charlotte against the Judgment Day. We'll take the LA Knight Seth Rollins match, because how could we not? As you mentioned, great match before it came to an end. We'll go NXT. We'll take Myers Born Lexis King. We'll take Soruka Tatum Paxley. From SmackDown, we will take Sammy and Solo. And we will take the main event tag team, which would have got finished to that, but was still really cool and really star-studded tag team match.
Exactly.
From SummerSlam, we're going to take that triple threat women's match that kicked off the show. We're going to take the TLC tag with 6 teams. I don't know how that could not be on match of the week candidate. Then we're going to take John Cena and Cody Rhodes for main event. And as I mentioned before, I feel that's a possible match of the year candidate. I don't know how I could not say Cody John Cena. As you mentioned, it was what everyone thought they'd get at WrestleMania. You got that SummerSlam, and it did disappoint.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that very well, like we said, that could be match of the year. The year's not over yet by any means, but that was just an awesome, awesome match.
And then for the MVP of the week, I think we've seen his best match in his last year so far with him and Cody. He delivered an amazing promo on SmackDown, reminded everyone just how good a John Cena face promo was. And then he brawled with Logan Paul, teamed up with Cody. They went to the back. He wrestled on SmackDown. as a face, which was really cool because when he was a heel, we weren't seeing him wrestle on shows. MVP of the week, I'm going John Cena.
That's awesome. Cannot argue with that at all. And for our fullback, everyone's talking about Brock Lesnar makes his return after a hiatus and attacks John at the expense of John Cena. Well, this is not the first time it's happened. For those of you unaware, back in 2012, the night after WrestleMania 28, after 8 years, Brock Lesnar returned to WWE at the expense of John Cena, which would lead to your main event of Extreme Rules 2012, an Extreme Rules match with John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Awesome match with current events. I highly recommend you go back and watch Extreme Rules 2012, Brock Lesnar, John Cena.
Ooh, okay. I like it. We want to thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned. Remember, vote on that poll that was put up a couple weeks ago. And then if you guys like the draft, we'll do some more. If not, we'll come up with some different things to do. But stay tuned and stay locked in because we have a lot of good content coming for you guys.
Exactly. And next week, don't forget, we will be covering Triple Mania.
Ooh, very interesting.
Pay-per-view, which is like for WrestleMania of AAA.
See you guys next week.